You made it to Sunday. Congratulations, here we are. Excellent. Congratulate yourself on being here, being awake, being well hydrated, having had a wonderful night's sleep in a comfortable, wonderful hotel here in beautiful Queens, and refreshed and ready for what the day brings. So before we start this talk, let me just mention a couple things that are upcoming. One is there are a number of talks in the fourth track. I know you're here right now, but for the rest of the day, when you're thinking of what to do, the fourth track, all that is listed in the wiki. So if you go to wiki.hope.net, you can see what's coming up. There's a bunch of neat stuff that people have brought forth that was not on the original schedule. There's also, of course, workshops today and a bunch of other stuff to enjoy. The vendors are here. If you haven't had conversations with vendors, please do. They're all wonderful and extremely friendly and well-groomed. The other thing I want to mention in advance, so you can start planning for the rest of the day and how it ends, is closing ceremonies is at 6. And this will be up in D'Angelo 416. I think we're not going to simulcast here. I think we'll simulcast it to 206. We'll let you know later in the day. But the closing ceremonies will be fun. We'll be thanking everybody and sort of summing up how things went, network, all that sort of stuff, how the conference went. And following the closing ceremonies, there's a band, a salsa band. So this will be cool. So if you're thinking of leaving early, now think of changing your plans and sticking around. Check out closing ceremonies, check out the band, and then if you can, stick around and help with the cleanup, pack up tonight, and even tomorrow morning we'll be loading those rental trucks. That's a plug for volunteers. Otherwise, enjoy the day. Sunday's a fantastic day. The program is just as strong as the previous 2 days, and this talk is particularly strong because not only is it a great abstract, highly qualified speaker, a wonderful topic, but they brought stuff. And you'll be learning about what that is during the talk, Shoplifting on a Budget. Please welcome our speaker.
Trying to think of a good intro, and I thought about that yesterday. I was like, okay, what can I get people's attention with? So welcome everyone, welcome to Hope. Thank you for coming to the talk today. Thanks for the Hope organizers, all the volunteers, everyone who's made this event possible. AV, my personal cameraman, my friend Jacob, thanks for helping out everyone. So who am I? I Make It Hackin', that's my pseudonym. I might tell you my first name later. You can find me on TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, and Instagram, and Twitter, of course. And, my thoughts are my own. I don't represent anyone else on this stage. And I hack out of curiosity, and this is my cat. Briefly, the schedule. The thing that I want to point out here is I'm going to ask for some volunteers. If you're comfortable with coming up on stage and trying some of these bypasses later, just realize that you're going to be on camera. Then I'm going to ask for like 3 or 4 volunteers. So someone who may be comfortable with wire strippers. If there's someone in the audience who is comfortable with that, then I definitely need one of those people. But if you want to try something out, just keep that in mind, and I'll call on you later. Thank you. Another disclaimer, shoplifting is illegal. I went out to dinner with a college friend last night, and I was telling him about my talk, and he was like, so you're encouraging people to shoplift? And I was like, oh wait, I think I've been in like the hacker culture too long where, even though you teach someone like how to do something, you're not really encouraging them to do it on things that you shouldn't be. So I rewrote my disclaimer. Shoplifting is illegal, it's theft, and I don't condone it or encourage it. My intent is purely to educate you on the functionality of some of these security devices. And just like lockpicking and other sort of hacking, don't experiment on any devices, systems, or environments that you don't have permission to do. Okay, I want to make that very clear, FBI and police that are in the audience. And if you do some of these bypasses, realize that you might want to wear like safety glasses or gloves, that sort of thing. So use PPE if you're doing that. And again, don't steal. All right, so why is security tags interesting to hackers? I think it's because it's very similar to other hacks that we get to see. So RFID, you're getting access into something or bypassing access. Lock bypassing, same sort of thing. Lock picking, some of these are more into the lock picking sort of area. And then also like tamper evident. We'll talk about that a little bit. So how did I get interested in this? Well, I'll play a video in a little bit that explains this, but basically I went to school for physics, also for theater, so it feels pretty cool, good to be on the stage again. But yeah, we learned about Faraday cages, and does anyone know what a Faraday cage is? Wow, I love this audience. Okay, for like the two people who didn't put their hand up, a Faraday cage is basically a metal structure that blocks signals, like radio signals. So when you go into an elevator and you lose your cell phone service, or when you stare into the microwave waiting for your Hot Pocket to finish and it doesn't burn your eyeballs, that's all thanks to Faraday cages. All right, and then the way that I got started in this research was because of TikTok. My friend Danner, that's over here, that's filming, he got me into it a couple years ago during the pandemic, and he was like, hey, you do a lot of cool projects, why don't you show some of this stuff on TikTok? And I was like, I don't know, I posted some like random videos, but one of the first videos that I posted was a stitch. Now, for those who aren't familiar with the TikTok jargon, a stitch is when you take up to 5 seconds of someone else's TikTok video and you react to it. So the person in this video, she asked, what is a piece of information that feels illegal to know? And if I asked you guys that question, guys and girls, I'm sure you'd think of like a million different things because, you know what I'm talking about. So I was like, okay, what can I talk about? Like elevator keys, wearing a high-vis vest and a hard hat to get in anywhere, maybe a Proxmark, things like that. And then I thought back to my physics days, and I thought, oh yeah, I remember during that thing, I thought about a use of the Faraday cages, and I'm going to play this video.
What's a piece of information that you learned that feels illegal to know?
I studied physics in college, and one day we learned about Faraday cages, which are metal structures that block radio frequency signals. And I thought, don't stores put RFID tags on things that are expensive? And if you walk through the door, the alarm goes off? Well, all you got to do is use a Faraday cage, like a piece of aluminum foil. Wrap the foil around the tag, and now the alarm doesn't go off. Yeah, so just for the technical people in the audience, at that time I thought it was RFID. It's just RF. There's no RFID in these things. Actually, one of the tags does have RFID, but I didn't find that out until later, until I started doing more research. But part of the fun of TikTok is reading people's comments, and they could either be super toxic or super funny. So these are some of the ones that I picked out that are super funny. So people reacted to this, and top comment was, Walmart ain't ready for me tomorrow. This app turning me into a demon day by day, and I hope no one notices the 70-inch TV I'm about to wrap in aluminum foil. And then one of the great things also about being on TikTok was you get to find like other hackers. Their algorithm's really good about feeding you content that you want to watch. So I found like other hackers, other cybersecurity people, other InfoSec, and you kind of connect to people, and then we got a Slack going and stuff like that. So just being able to talk to other people has been really awesome. All right, so once that video went viral, I wanted to post more about it, but I literally, that's all I knew at the time. So I went to Google and I typed in security tags. So security tags are kind of like what I just usually call it, but the whole enchilada is called Electronic Article Surveillance, or EAS. It basically consists of 3 different components. Over here you have the pedestals. Those are the gates that you see at the entrance or exit to retail stores. Then you have the detachers, like a magnet in the top left, and then on the bottom you have your security tag device. There's 3 different system types. There's radio frequency, or RF, and that's definitely like a generic term, like radio frequency covers the whole light spectrum, right? But in this particular situation, that's configured to 8.2 megahertz. Acoustomagnetic, or AM, is 58 kilohertz. And then electromagnetic, I think I spelled that wrong. I forget what frequency that is, but the EM is what you see in libraries. So they all kind of work the same. It's a little bit different physics involved in each one, but they all kind of serve the same purpose. All right, so why do people put security tags on stuff? Well, it's because they don't want you to steal it. And what don't they want you to steal? Stuff that costs a lot of money, I guess, or items that are frequently stolen. So that's the purpose. You remove them by either a detacher that you kind of like see here on the left, that one's electronic, or some sort of magnet. And if you don't pay for it and you go through the gates, then alarms go off. So RF tags, these are a few different types. Like I said, they're in the 8.2 megahertz spectrum. The ones that you see here on the top left are soft labels. We'll talk about those in a little bit, and then you have hard tags. For the acoustomagnetic, they're either a little strip. So some of you might have seen the one on the top left here, like on DVDs or other like little packages, or you can have them in hard tag form as well. One really valuable piece of information that's available to many different things on the internet are data sheets. So this just happened to be the first tag that I bought on eBay. It ended up being like one of the hardest ones to open. If I would have done my research beforehand, I would have looked at the data sheet and found out the actual magnetic strength that was required to open it up. So if you're curious about a tag and it's a brand name one, you can go on the internet and look for the data sheet and figure out how do you open this. So for pedestals, they kind of look similar. There's kind of like two different types. You'll either see one with 2 sections or one with 4 sections. And that basically tells you which of the system types they have. So if it's 2 sections, it's the acoustomagnetic or 58 kilohertz. And if it's the 4 section, it's the 8.2 megahertz or RF. And that kind of helps you know about like, okay, what types of tags should I be able to see in the store? And then, you know, theoretically, what could I do to bring in there? If you run a store and you don't want to set up a very expensive EAS system, you can buy dummy pedestals for $200 on eBay right now. I don't know, I think they have like a light that blinks, but they don't actually do anything. If you want to get into this research, there's a lot of tags available on eBay. They're less than 20 bucks for like 100 of them, so it's a lot of fun to play with these things and very cheap. What's not widely available are the detachers or magnets used to open these things. It seems like eBay and Amazon have delisted a lot of these things because, you know, a magnet is not illegal by itself, but you know, the purpose that you're using it for, you know, if you do bring a magnet into a store, and this goes back to my disclaimer, if you bring a magnet into a store or any tool to facilitate shoplifting, that's charged as a shoplifting tool. So it's like an additional charge. So it's like if you were to, you know, lockpicks aren't illegal, but if you pick your way into something, now you have burglary tools. Same sort of thing, don't bring them into a store. All right, so we're gonna talk about the different types of security tags. The first one we kind of saw already, there's hard tags, those are mainly on clothing. This diagram kind of shows you how they work, and I think the easiest way to explain this is with a finger trap. Does anyone know what this is? Okay, so basically you can think of like the pin in the tag, and then it goes into the hard tag like that, and if you try and pull it out, you're not getting it out. All right, that's basically the same exact way that these function. It's all friction, which is kind of hard to believe because, you know, you require all these special tools to open it, but it's really just a lot of friction. So if you look up here on the diagram, we have the pin, and it goes into the tag, and there's a set of ball bearings that kind of grab around the pin, and there's a spring that compresses all of that stuff. And there's a metal cylinder around it, and it's only when you bring a magnet into close proximity that it pulls those ball bearings and everything away from the pin, and you're able to take it out. That's how most of the hard tags function. Ink tags are special because they have some stuff inside that may explode. And if you see these in a store, they'll usually say that they're an ink tag. Usually it's noticeable, but sometimes it's not so noticeable. But they'll usually say like, hey, don't mess with this or you could get ink all over yourself. So if you've never seen someone open an ink tag, here you go. You have to click this.
Here's what it looks like to break a security ink tag. I recently purchased these ink tags from eBay for security research purposes, and in this experiment, my tools of choice are railroad nails. I wedge them in between the ink tag and piece of cloth and apply pressure. In slow motion, you can see the ink burst out of the tag. Follow for more.
I always have to like say that disclaimer on my TikToks because I always say like for security research purposes, and it is, but I had some takedowns, so I try to like make it obvious that I'm not trying to, use this knowledge for anything else. So it is funny, like people like, commenting like, oh yeah, security research purposes. Soft labels are another class. We talked about this earlier. These ones can be deactivated at the counter. The hard tags and mostly everything else, like they remove from the item. These they leave on the item, and they are deactivated with some like powerful thing. So the RF tag that you see on the top left, that's basically an inductor and a little tiny capacitor, and they basically just fry that capacitor at the checkout station. And then the acoustomagnetic, don't know the exact physics, but there's some kind of like magnetic coupling that's going on, and they just kind of like reverse the polarity, and that's how those are deactivated. One of my favorite is the spider wrap, and this you'll see, you saw it at the beginning when I cut it, but they put them around like TVs and PlayStations and things like that, and it serves a couple purposes, and one of them is that it encloses boxes so that you can't open the sides, and then it also, as you saw at the beginning, if you were to cut those, it sets off an alarm. Similar to the spider wraps, there's cable locks made by the same company. This one is made more to like route through something and like lock it to a shelf or just hanging on an item, but it's not meant to go around a box or anything. Hooks, I'm sure you've seen a lot of these in like CVS or things like that. They just kind of hold items that are on the shelf and prevent you from removing them. You have to take a magnet to remove them. Security boxes are kind of like a catch-all. If something's weirdly shaped, you can just put it in this box, and now you have to open the box. The fun thing is that this one, this one, this one, and this one, they all open the exact same, with the exact same magnet. So, I got my lock bypass people here. They had a great talk yesterday. It's like things if they're key to like, you can think of all these things are key to like, and if you have the one key, then you're good. One interesting one that I came up with during my research is the Yonder pouch. Has anyone ever seen these in public before? A couple people. So they are at, it seems like concerts and comedy shows. I bought mine from someone who was they worked in like college or something like that. They're meant to secure phones so that you don't record the event that you're going to or that you are not distracted by your phone. And they are basically a hard tag with a little pouch on the end. The fun thing about this is that the really strong magnets are kind of hard to find, but the one that I bought on eBay came with the magnetic tray for this, and it can open security tags too. Trying to figure out, I wanted to buy those pedestals and like put them in my garage or something, but it just seemed like unnecessary. So fortunately, you can buy detectors on eBay or AliExpress, and it just kind of shows you like, hey, this is an active tag, and you need 2 of them because of the different systems in the different stores. Kind of like I alluded to earlier, almost everything is opened by magnet, so if you have a magnet or a couple different kinds, you can open up most of these things. Another disclaimer, if you're trying to do this research on your own, just be careful. Some of these magnets are really, really powerful, so you want to have any metal away from them, and especially away from other magnets, because if something slams together and your finger's in the way, or they chip and little shards go flying, that's bad news. So be very careful when you're experimenting. So there's these are the different kind of magnets that I've purchased. The top left is called a fishing magnet. You can get these really easy on eBay. The one that I have is rated for 270 pounds. The one on the bottom left is called the Alpha S3 key. That's the one that I was talking about earlier that was kind of like a one key to rule them all. The one on the bottom right is really good for hard tags and can open up most of them. I think mine's rated for 15,000 Gauss. And on the top right, it's kind of like a in-between of everything. It's just a strong magnet. There are some security tags that don't use magnets to open, and so the things that, the equipment that open them, they're called like detachers, and instead of a magnet, there's this little hole here on the tag, and something goes in there. You can either have that electric one you saw earlier, or there's like a handheld version. In both of them is this thing, it's a hook. So that hook goes into that hole, and there's like a little lever. It's really hard to press, but the hook goes into the lever and just presses it down and releases the tag. All right, but what if you don't have a magnet? What can you do? All right, so now we're gonna get into the bypasses, the fun stuff. All right, so you could destroy it. Well, before I say this, the magnet is definitely the easy way to go. So some of these things that we're gonna show aren't like what you would do in the store necessarily. It's just like, how do you open these things? There are legitimately some people who buy things and they bring them home and the tag's still on. So now they have to figure out, how do you get them off? If you're close to the store, I'd recommend just going back to the store with your receipt and getting them to take it off. But if you wanna have some fun, you can take it off yourself. All right, so for soft labels, all you have to do, these are really easy. The easiest way is to peel it off. They're stickers. But what are some other ways that you could destroy them? A knife or a pen would work. So we're gonna show you that. All right, so here I have some soft labels. These are the acoustomagnetic ones that you might see on a package or DVD or something like that. So first I'm just gonna put it on this box and we're gonna test it out. Okay, so that means it's active. And you just take a pair of scissors, kind of cut into it a little bit. And so that's kind of, yeah, clap for the scissor cut. It's basically the same thing for the RF tag, but for the RF tag, if you remember on the pictures earlier, or you can see it on here, all you have to do is cut one of the traces. So you can just like get really, really close and just kind of, I should have demoed that it worked initially, but I broke it already. Okay. You guys get it? If you don't have a pair of scissors on you, you can maybe like run it along with a pen. The AM tag is a little bit harder to get into. It's like got some layers in there, so you gotta like dig really deep. For the box, how do you open a box? You could use like a hammer or a circ saw or something else. Here's what I did.
Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien. Ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal.
Those things are tough. I had a sledgehammer, and man, it is really, really hard to open those things. By the way, when I were posting these TikToks and my hair was a little bit shorter, I kept getting called John Wick. So I bought the John Wick Blu-ray DVD, and now I keep it in one of these. Oh, and I wasn't called John Wick. I was called Walmart John Wick, or like discount John Wick. If you guys are like on TikTok, you'll know what that means. Just means like I'm a cheaper looking version. Yeah, wish John Wick. Okay, so for hard tags, if you want to, the easiest way to open up one of these by destruction is all you have to do is remove the little bump on the end, and that's where that magnet kind of gets that metal cylinder. So if you can kind of dig around in there, you can just take all the components out. This is especially good if you're trying to do a tag with ink, because you're avoiding all the ink problems.
Here's how I remove clothing security tags. I recently purchased these tags from eBay for security research purposes. They're held together using a pin and latch mechanism. Most are open with a super strong magnet, but if I didn't have one, I can turn up the heat. Here I'm using an old soldering iron. I get it hot and I go in deep. Then I move it around a bunch before pulling it out. Success! Follow for more.
Follow for more. So you could do that with a soldering iron. Sometimes I really like these flush cutters. These are really good at just like a whole lot of stuff, but these security tags are very tough plastic, so you need some good stuff. Now what happens if you're trying to open an ink tag? It can be really messy. So we're going to look at some different things, and I'll give you my opinion at the end. But I think that one of the things you want to do is try not to make the ink spill. So usually there's like holes in the tag where the ink would exit, so you can try and cover those up.
Will duct tape prevent the security ink tag from splattering? Let's find out. I recently purchased these ink tags from eBay for security research purposes, and first I slide the duct tape behind the tag and then cover the top. Then I put on my safety gloves and glasses and pry open the tag. The duct tape was effective overall, but some ink got out. What else should I try?
Another one of those like disclaimers that I try and put in my TikToks is I was wearing safety glasses, just so, because some people's videos get taken down for safety reasons. All right, let's see what else we got.
Will this security ink tag not splatter if I freeze then break it? Let's find out. The ink tag sat in my freezer for 24 hours, and now it's time to conduct our security research. I grab my scientific instruments, also known as railroad nails, and apply pressure. As you can see, the ink still burst out of the tag and was not completely frozen. What else should I try?
Did anyone notice what was in my freezer? Uno? And the Cards Against Humanity? Anyone know why I did that? Yes. So sometimes if you don't think a video is going to do well, or you just want it to do better, you can put things in the video that are kind of slight that people want to correct you about or ask you about. So just putting some stuff in my freezer, and another one with the freezer, I put like a shoe in there, and people are like, why are there shoes in there? And it just like gets that engagement. So pro tip, if you're on TikTok or, yeah. You know, if you're posting videos, like do something typos. I'll show you a typo in a little bit. Yeah, have people correct you on things is really good. That suggestion came from people. So people were like, hey, will freezing work? And turns out that ink probably has like some alcohol in it, so it has a probably pretty low freezing point, and didn't work.
Will hot glue prevent the security ink tag from splattering? Let's find out. I recently purchased these ink tags from eBay for security research purposes, and after smothering the tag with hot glue, I put on my safety gloves and glasses and pry open the tag. To my surprise, the ink vials remained intact. What else should I try?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised by that one. And even though I wouldn't need to try anything else, it's fun to try other things. I tried beeswax too, because I thought hot glue was kind of similar. And beeswax worked too. I don't think some of these things are like always gonna work, right? There could be little inconsistencies, right, that just make it work or make it not work. I think the thing with the hot glue that made it work was it's sort of grabbing around everything and just like preventing it from breaking. So I think that's why that one worked. So my recommendation for ink tags is, if you can, of course, go back to the store, have them take it off. But just get the ink vials out first. So you can use like some flush cutters or maybe melted or something like that, and just get the ink vials out. That way when you proceed further, you don't have any risk of the ink splattering. So another way of opening up tags is by separation, and you can do that with forks or rubber bands. And I'm not allowed to say one of the other methods because it's kind of inappropriate, but you can do your own research and figure out what material that is. And plastic bags. And some of these might not get it off all the way. So, you know, if it gets it off most of the way, then you could sort of use a combination of other things. Like if you get it separated enough, you can just go in with some flush cutters and cut the pin off.
Will I be able to remove the security tag using 2 forks? Let's find out. I recently purchased these tags from eBay for security research purposes. I begin by inserting the pin into the tag and then slide the first fork in between them. I'm able to pop out the pin a little, and then I use the second fork to finish the job. Success! What else should I try?
Did anyone notice the typo? So it was 2 forks, T-O-O. So, yeah, I had people like, hey, you spelled 2 wrong. I'm like, thanks for the points, guy. If you're doing it with forks, I recommend not using ones made of, like, I think these were, like, mainly silver or something, and they're just, like, bent a lot. So try and get something that's really sturdy.
Will I be able to remove my ink tag using a plastic bag? Let's find out. I recently purchased retail ink tags from eBay for security research purposes. First, I set up the experiment. Then I slide the bag between the main tag and ink tag. Next, I spin it around the center, building up thin layers of plastic which gently separates the 2 halves. Success! The ink tag pops off with no mess. Follow for more.
I think that one works maybe 60% of the time. This is my favorite method, except for that other method that I'm not allowed to talk about on stage. Go look that up, but this is kind of close to that one.
Can you all please stop tagging Party Shirt in all of my videos? I do not post cap, just facts. Now sit back and enjoy the security ink tag and rubber band video.
'Cause day and night, the lonely loner seems to free his mind at night.
Does anyone know who Party Shirt is on TikTok? Didn't think so. But if you're on TikTok, you probably know who they are. Party Shirt is a pair of gentlemen that test internet trends or whatever. So usually people will tag them in a video to have them test it because Party Shirt is sort of like the known good source of trying things. So if they try it and they say it's good, then you can trust that the original is good or otherwise. So another way to get points on the internet is people weren't really tagging Party Shirt in my videos. They kind of were, but not a lot. But every time I told people to stop doing it, so Party Shirt ended up testing the plastic bag one, and they got it open, so that was cool. Continuity is another bypass, and I'm sure our lock bypass people are very familiar with this one. So this is appropriate for the spider tag. So you saw me cut it earlier. If you continue the continuity, you will have an option to get it open.
Will I be able to remove my spider security tag using alligator clips? Let's find out. I purchased some spider tags from eBay for security research purposes, and cutting the wire normally sets off a very loud alarm. First, I shave off 2 sections of wire coating. Next, I place clips to maintain electrical continuity, and now it's time to cut the wire. Success! No loud alarm or rapid blinking. Follow for more.
If you notice, I didn't put the pliers in there. Someone had told me that they had a TikTok taken down for having scissors in there, so I was paranoid and I didn't put that part in there. But we're going to demonstrate that later. And then we already talked a little bit about Faraday cages, but this is something that my old college roommate kind of told me about first. And they're called booster bags. I learned a lot on TikTok afterwards too. People were just like telling me things like the nickname for like shoplifting is actually borrowing. So I guess they're going to bring it back at some point. But booster bags are shopping bags that people line with aluminum foil, creates a Faraday cage, and they're able to walk out with stuff. Another method is jamming. I haven't heard too much done with this, but theoretically, everything's kind of done with RF, so you could possibly build some kind of jammer. I haven't done any kind of research with that. All right, now one of the fun things with having like 500 ink tags is, what do I do with this stuff? So since I'm on TikTok and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, let me try and make some art. So we're gonna play a game called Is It Art or Not Art? So let me know what you guys think. That is my, thank you. Okay, hold up your hands if you think it's art. Cool. All right, now put your hands down. Who doesn't think it's art? Please be honest. A few people. Okay, I didn't really think so either. I just did it because I had like hundreds and hundreds of security tags. But that ended up being my most viral video. It's like sitting at like 26 million views. And everyone's commenting, because remember, the thing that I did in the description was, hey, I'm creating art, everyone, just to like trigger those people to, argue in the comments whether it's art or not art. There was a lot of people arguing, and it kind of got me thinking like, yeah, what is art? And, who knows? It's in the eye of the beholder, right? Here's some of the comments on this one. Bidding starts at $2 million. Anyone can make art nowadays. I remember when art had pictures and people in it. Man, I'm old. And I made the mistake of selling this because I was like, when it was going viral, I was like, oh, let me sell it. I think I sold it for like $200 or something like that, which is so pretty awesome. But then it was my most viral video. I was like, oh, kind of wish I had it back just so I could hang it on the wall to kind of have something to remember by. Okay, so the Hope Badge that I designed this year, there's a few people that got it. I only made 20 of them. And this was sort of inspired by security tags. So on the badge is a couple security tags that you see at the bottom. Those are internal components of a couple different ones. And we have both the 8.2 megahertz and the 58 kilohertz. And so if you were to bring this into a retail store, it would set off the alarms. So don't do that, people who bought it. Also, I wanted to, and I kind of did that last year at DEF CON, but I kind of wanted to do something different this year. So on here, there's a demo. Let me reset. It's called the spider tag demo. So right now it's like armed. And if you remember the security tag, or the spider tag, when you break the continuity, it alarms. So we got something like that. Or I'll just disconnect it here. And if we reconnect it, it doesn't go off. But I have a little magnet, and there's a little magnet sensor, so it kind of just like rearms it. It's also got like a little video game on it and just like a flashy badge mode. So that was a lot of fun to make for Hope. If you guys are going to DEF CON, check out my DEF CON badges. They'll be released soon. All right, so now I'm going to ask for some volunteers to come up and try some of these things. The things that we're going to try are some Faraday cages. We're going to try the rubber band method, and we're going to try the spider tag alligator clips. So do I have any volunteers? Otherwise, I'll do it. All right, come up on stage if you want to give it a try. Come on up. Check, check. All right, 1, 2. Hey, welcome to Hope today. All right, so what is your name?
My name is Zalia.
Zalia, nice to meet you. Give her a round of applause. All right, so would you like to try the spider tag where you get to like cut the cord, or we also have the rubber band or the Faraday cage?
Spider tag, please.
Spider tag, all right. So grab that box, and first we need to put it on. So hold the microphone. Can you hold it up here? There's a little button on the bottom that's used to extend that, and then you wrap it around the box like this. And then there's a little lever on the top, close it like this. Ooh, you're gonna kill an heavy guy. Get it nice and tight. Okay, so have you used wire strippers before?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think where it says like 18, and you kind of just want to like shave a little bit off. If you want to practice, you could actually practice with this one. Just try and like shave maybe like that much off. And I found if I hold the wire strippers at like an angle, yeah, like that, you kind of got to do that sort of thing. Try that on the 18 one. Did you get it? A little bit. Yeah, there you go. She got one of them. I think you got it. All right, now we got some alligator clips. God, this is my life, like every day. There you go. And before you cut it, I'm just going to double check, just so, yeah. All right, let's check here. I think you're probably good.
Okay.
I don't see it stripped all the way around, but that's not totally necessary.
Does it matter which one I cut?
No, so this is like one continuous wire. She asked, does it matter which one you cut? It doesn't matter. Use the little flush cutters over there and hold it up and cut it. Whoa! I think it got knocked around at the end. But do you want to take that?
Yep.
All right. All right, so next we got the Faraday cage or rubber bands. Which one would you like to try?
Rubber band.
Rubber band. All right, so we're going to set this up over here. So I had some of these ink tags, and I took the ink out. If you wanted to just like throw that outside or like, yeah. Or do you want to, here, come up here. No, magnet won't rearm it. I'll give you one at the end, but we're just going to put it in this water. That was another thing that people commented on TikTok was like, oh yeah, like if it just alarms, you can like just have a soda with you and do that sort of thing. All right, so we're gonna get a piece of cloth. So go ahead and take that, be careful of that. Stick it through the cloth. And then stick it into the tag. Okay, and then grab a rubber band, grab one of the thick ones out of that bag. And did you see the video where it's kind of like you're basically going to stretch the rubber band around it as much as you can and then kind of like flip it around and you're just building up layers like that.
Should I use the thicker or thinner one?
Thicker, yeah.
Is this okay?
Let me see. Yeah, it's fine. It's a little loose right now. Not really sure
Enough rubber band?
why. Yeah, let's just try it.
Almost out of rubber band.
Okay, you're almost at rubber band. When you feel you can't do it anymore, stop. Okay, now hold it up and twist it like you're kind of like screwing that off. Just try to turn to the left or the right. Do you guys hear that? Yeah. See if you keep twisting. You might get another pop. So when you're doing the rubber band method, you're listening for that pop. Hopefully, if there was ink in there, it didn't pop. Just heard another one. And it was a little loose to begin with, so hey! All right, good job. You can keep that if you want. All right, good job. All right, next we're gonna do a Faraday cage, so come on up. If you guys want to try it out later, by the way, I'm gonna go to the hardware hacking area with all this stuff after this talk, so if you have additional questions or want to try this stuff out, meet me out over there. Unfortunately, I don't think we have time for everyone else, but you guys can come to the hardware hacking area and finish it out. All right, what's your name?
My name is Robert.
Nice to meet you, Robert. Are you ready to steal?
Yep.
Don't steal. God, what did I tell you guys? Yeah, you can borrow this stuff. You can't take it. Okay, so I'm gonna have you try out some of this stuff. We have some aluminum foil. We have a Faraday like phone bag. We have a Ruffles bag, and we have some Faraday cloth. Which one do you want to try first?
Let's try one of the chip bags.
Okay. Do me a favor. Choose the nacho cheese one first. All right. So pick a tag, any tag. Oh, why'd you choose that one? Okay, I think that one's a checkpoint. Okay. Drop it in the chip bag. And fold the top over just to make sure it's closed. All right. Raise your hand if you think it's going to work. And we're pretending that we're going to like walk through security with this thing. All right, here we go. I actually didn't think that was going to work. The nacho cheese one was kind of eh. All right, now let's try aluminum foil. Oh, and you know what? I think the RFID guy who was talking yesterday, I don't know if he's in here, but there's some that are like low frequency, some that are high frequency. So actually, I want you to use a low frequency tag. So here, wrap that one instead. This is the Sensormatic tag. By the way, I do recommend, if you have a retail store, to use the ones that have the hooks, because they're harder to open and magnets don't work. All right, so let's see here. Okay, yeah, you're good. All right, and let's try the Faraday cloth. Yeah, and let's do a little experiment. Let's just like have one layer, and I'll kind of like try from the other side. So first I'll do it from this side, just so you can hear it work. So you can't just have one layer. Let's figure out how many layers does it take to experiment and do security research.
2 layers.
All right, I think it's actually like 4 layers, because you're, not good enough, not good enough. I got the idea for the chip bag from Terminator Salvation or something. There's a scene in there when they do like they put it in a Ruffles bag.
4 layers.
4 layers. Nope. So far the Faraday cage, and see, sometimes it's like the problem might be like these edges over here that like technically aren't closed. So try and like fold in everything. Yay! Thank you very much. All right, you can keep that. We have time for a couple questions. If you guys want to run up, I'm going to put the mic down here. It's hard to run from the cops with a broken ankle. Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
So just like people make jokes with the actual small locks, have you ever gone to a store and added extra tags just for extra chaos?
No. That's kind of funny, though. I mean, I've thought about a lot of different like little pranks you could do, but the only time I bring security tags into a store is by accident. Like, when I was here this week and, had my backpack and I just had to go into CVS for something and it sets it off, and I'm like, sorry, everyone. Like, it might sound weird, but I have these things in my bag. I promise I'm not stealing. Yes, sir.
This is not actually apropos of tags, but your attempt to freeze the tags amused me. I recently had some artisanal jam, which I took through TSA at an airport, and they confiscated it, even though I offered to eat it right there. They said, it's a gel, it's really a pity. If only you had frozen it.
Yeah,
we would have let you take it through.
Yeah, I've heard people being able to freeze those kinds of things to take them through. Interesting. Woo! Have fun at Hope, everyone. Thanks for coming by.